addiction, every alcoholic spirit, it started as alcoholism. Now it's drugs. It's all in your house. Enough is enough. Today, in the name of Jesus, you better kick off them heels, pull that hat off your head, and tell the devil the spell is broken. 30 seconds to give God a praise. 20 seconds.
Once again, we enter the fray that is the video game movie, as studios grasp for something that they can possibly get a cash grab out of. And what better way than take something that's already created for another platform and bring it to the big screen? Many have tried. Pretty much all of them have failed. But what about this? What about this movie? This video game adaptation of this well-known and beloved video game character. How did they do? Honestly, they did pretty good. This, of course, I'm talking about is Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the live action, for the most part, adaptation of Sonic the Hedgehog. The video game character, you know, the blue hedgehog that spins around and runs super fast, collects all the gold coins. He now has this movie, and this has kind of been sort of anticipated for a bit, because this movie was supposed to come out like last year. But because of, you know, some obvious, you know, backlash on some certain artistic choices, the studio thought, hey, maybe we might, you know, push that back a bit so we can make some little tweaks here and there. So now we have it here in February with a fully new redesigned Sonic with the same script, I'm assuming. So how did it do? And I have to say, like I said at the beginning, it's not really a bad movie. Is it a perfect movie? Not really. But it's not horrible. And that might sound like that's still kind of the same thing, but it's really not. This movie is really more geared towards more of a family audience, even though it has a bit of kind of more adult stuff in it sometimes. Some of the language they use and some of the settings they're in, you're like, these are kind of adult things that I really haven't seen in, you know, family movies in a while. And overall, the movie's just kind of fun. It's a fun experience. And I think a lot of that has to do with Sonic himself. He's voiced by Ben Schwartz, and he feels like Sonic the Hedgehog. He's hyper, he's funny, he's cocky, and it's almost like all that excess hyper energy that he has throughout the film kind of infects you in a way that makes you kind of enjoy every single time he's on screen. And even Jim Carrey is Dr. Eggman. Now, a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know how I feel about Jim Carrey playing this role. It's kind of a cartoon, in which, yes, he is a cartoon, just like Dr. Eggman. I mean, if you want to think, hey, I want someone to play a cartoon character, why wouldn't you get Jim Carrey? The man is a living cartoon. And he pulls it off for the most part. I mean, he gets a little bit kind of at times, you know, he plays this very kind of awkward version of Eggman. Like, you know those awkward kids in high school who are smart and, you know, but they sat in the back of the class and they couldn't really socialize with people and they kind of said things that were cool in their head but not cool to everyone else? That's pretty much Dr. Eggman in this, but Jim Carrey brings a life to it that makes you kind of find it entertaining for the most part. My real criticisms are really, I guess, of the rest of the cast. I mean, we have James Marsden as like the sheriff of this little town that most of the movie takes place in, and he's not bad. The thing is, none of the cast is bad. Nobody does a bad job. They're just uninteresting compared to Eggman and Sonic. They are just okay. Like, you could have casted anybody in James Marsden's role and nothing about the movie would have been different. I mean, his character is just the guy that's with Sonic on this little road trip adventure. There's even a storyline with the human character that kind of like goes nowhere. Like, when he's helping Sonic, they're also kind of on the lam from the government. So they label him as a domestic terrorist, and you think, oh crap, that's gonna make things harder. But it doesn't really. Like, he walks to places like it's nothing. No one ever recognizes him, even though his face is like all over the news. So it just, nothing comes of it. And then when it's resolved eventually at the end, nothing, you don't even know how. It just is now. And another thing that kind of bothered me a few times was some of the musical choices. Like, they have a couple scenes that are straight up like Full House sappy music scenes where they play that, you know, soft music to tell you that you're supposed to feel sad in the scene. Yeah, that kind of got me a few times, but it only happens like twice in the movie, so it didn't take me too much out of the movie. But outside of that, everything else kind of works. Even in the story, story, I think, is better than I thought it was going to be. The trailer kind of pitched this as it's going to be one of those standard fish out of water stories, you know, hey, this is this character you like, but now he's in our real world, usually New York City. But no, at the beginning of the movie, they kind of established Sonic has been here for a while. He's kind of up to date on all the current cultural things. So you really don't have that awkward, oh, here's Sonic getting into some goofy mess because he doesn't understand how the world works. No, they just kind of go, yeah, he's here now. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And the effects on Sonic, they're actually really cool. They do this kind of cool lightning effect with him where, like, you know, he's almost going like Super Saiyan or something. And I think that was a cool addition to the character. You've never really seen that in any other Sonic games, really. You know, he's just usually really fast. But they pulled it off really well, and I really dug it. Which, thinking back now, looking at his design and looking at the effects they did with him, the one thing I could not get out of my mind while watching this movie is, what would it have been like if they kept the old design? Probably really crappy. Listen, character design is really important, and as much as I said they got Sonic right in character and that he's the most enjoyable part of the movie, if they would have kept that crackhead design, I would not have enjoyed it as much as I did. Probably not at all. And the scenes with Sonic in it, the best scenes in there, would have been totally ruined if it was that design doing them. Which is my way of saying kudos to the studio for actually taking the time and money to go back and listen to their fans and make a better design for Sonic. Thank you. And the movie ends in a way to kind of set up a sequel maybe, which, you know, all movies do that nowadays. Even at the beginning, they kind of have this weird kind of Marvel-ish intro, but for Sega, like they're gonna start like a Sega cinematic universe, like maybe, I don't know. But if they can, you know, continuously get better with their movies, and, you know, if this is the, you know, low end of the tier and it kind of just goes up from here, I'll be game for it. But that's my thoughts for the movie, guys. Tell me what you guys think. You know, did you enjoy the movie? Did you not enjoy the movie? Do you think the new design really helped with your enjoyment of the movie if you did enjoy it? And are you looking forward to any sequels or spin-offs or anything additional to this Sega cinematic universe maybe? And until next time, take care.